All right, you guys, Taylor Walton here from Hip Hop Inquirer. So we are here with none other than the author of the best-selling book, Lies of a Real Housewife, Tell the Truth, and Shame the Devil. Did you have any kind of prior relationship with Miss Kandi Burroughs before showing up to her watch party unbeknownst?
Not at all. That was actually the first time I had ever spoken to her, period. So I think that she was just as surprised as I was. I mean, it just seemed to, all the timing was just perfect. I was in the right place at the right time. I had no idea my name was going to be mentioned on the show again, because it was mentioned in season 3 by Nene, but I don't think people picked up on it. But this time, it was like she said my name about 3 times in a row, so people had no choice but to hear it. And I just think that Phaedra really gave herself away. I mean, she lied on national television and said that she won a lawsuit that she didn't win. So I've got every right to defend myself and tell my story, and that's what I'm doing.
And so when you heard your name on the show and the whole situation kind of got rebrought back up again, you said Nene kind of mentioned your name, but for people who haven't read your book and when the whole situation got out there and now people may be picking up the book again, how did you feel when this whole situation kind of got dug up again and people were kind of tapping into that?
I kind of felt redeemed. I felt renewed. I felt vindicated, because I had been, in all honesty, I had been defamed. I had been called, everything but what I actually was, which was someone just telling the truth, telling their own story. And I had actually been hated for that, and it seemed as if I had been kind of like blackballed in the industry. Nobody wanted to deal with me because everybody was looking at me as like somebody that was just being a liar and trying to tear someone down, when actually I was just trying to promote awareness and trying to show people this is who this really is. But the word says that, God says vengeance is his. So by me being patient and not really taking things into my own hand, she was able to reveal herself, and it makes the victory that much sweeter.
And have you had any kind of uncomfortable encounters with Miss Phaedra Parks since all this has gotten stirred up again, and now that she's actually been booted off of the show? Have you may have ran into her, had any encounters with her since then?
Not at all. Can't wait though.
I love it. I love the attitude. And so also, now that the reunion has aired and it's been announced and confirmed that she is now booted off of the show and she's not going to be joining the ladies for another season to come, what were your initial thoughts when you had first heard this? Did you feel that she had finally gotten what she had deserved?
Definitely a portion of what she deserved. I was taught not to gloat in anybody's disparity or whatever, to be happy when someone is going through. But I think that in this situation, it's definitely well deserved, and I don't regret anything that I've done ever in my life, not even a book. And hopefully my story can help someone else, can give someone else courage to come forward and to share their stories, and that's what I'm here for.
And now that Miss Phaedra has lost this kind of high-profile, high-paying job, you feel that she suffered enough in the hands of the media, or do you feel that maybe she might have other things coming towards her?
I know she has other things coming towards her, because I'm not the only person that she's violated. We all watched it play out on TV, how she did Kandi Burroughs, and I mean, that was foul. I mean, I think it really just shows us how low this woman will go, and there are no limits with her. And what was bothering me the most is I felt like everybody kept sparing her. All throughout all of the seasons, we've seen her violate Nene, trying to bring Nene's sisters on the show. We've seen her violate Kenya. We've seen her violate Kandi. We've seen all type of things happen, and nobody has ever really called her out on it. So I want to say that I was shocked and surprised that they did mention me and kind of did use me as, I want to say, I guess the gun that they had tucked away. I was shocked, but the truth prevails.
And in your best-selling #1 book, just want to get that right. Correction, best-selling #1 book about your life, and you kind of detail and unravel your upbringing and how you were sexually assaulted at the age of 5, and then how that kind of led you to meeting Miss Phaedra Parks and even Apollo Nida, and how you guys lived out this life of crime and fraud together for so many years. So why do you feel now that it's important for people to hear your side of the story and really listen to what you have to say?
I had made up my mind when I was in prison that I was going to use my story to help young women or to help disadvantaged youth, period. I didn't want unguided youth to go through life making the same mistakes that I made. So I figure, hey, if I can use my life as an example, if I can share my story and give them some corrective and some critical thinking, then maybe, I can make a difference somehow. And I think in the end, that's all that mattered to me. It's like making my life count. So everything that I went through, it does matter because I guess I can use my story and prevent someone else from making the same mistakes. So that's what it's about.
And even when you had, first started writing this book and detailing out the process for that, I can't help but think that people might have called you like a snitch or, that you were ratting out your former good friend, Phaedra Parks, and different things like that. And I know I read that you were even scared because you received so much death threats and people told you that she was going to sue you and her whole family for so many years to come and you wouldn't be able to support your family and things like that. So, did you think you were snitching when you wrote this book or how did you think about it?
When I was writing my story, I knew I had to write my story for my own personal healing. There were things that were, plaguing me that I was dealing with on the inside internally, and I knew that no one else felt how I felt because they hadn't walked in my shoes. So I had to kind of like tune everybody out and do what I needed to do for me to make myself whole, to complete myself again, to find my inner peace and my freedom so that I could be a good mother to my children, I could be a good sister, I can be a good friend, a good whatever. I had to go through my own healing process, and writing my story was a part of that healing process. And I can't say that I'm sorry that Phaedra is a part of that story, but she is. I mean, it's just my life. It is. And like I said before, if I had a chance to do it again, I would. I don't understand why we feel as though we should remain loyal to people that are not loyal to us. If Phaedra and Apollo can make a living off of lies, then why can't I make a living off of my truth?
Absolutely. And, just a final takeaway from this, what are your final thoughts now that everything has been out there and, she's been fired and people are finally seeing her for who she truly is and what you've trying to been say for so many years. Now that the whole situation is passed and gone over, what are your final thoughts and your takeaways from this?
I think that there's a lesson to be learned for all of us in this, and that's to beware of the wolves in sheep's clothing. Things are not always as they appear. I think the reason why the book has taken off and made the #1 spot is because people want real. We're tired of fake reality. Right now, the world that we're living in, the day and age that we're living in, we need to deal with real, and we need to deal with real issues. We need to deal with rape. We need to deal with imprisonment. We need to deal with, teenage pregnancy. We need to deal with molestation. We need to deal with a lot of things that we have not been dealing with within our own communities. And then we sit back and we're not being active, and then things like this happen. Mistakes are made. And I think that everybody just needs guidance, and everybody just needs to know that they can be supported, even if their story is as bad as mine, because I was shamed. But when I told my story, I told it. I didn't point fingers. I told everything I had done. I just told the story. I wanted people to know that you can still make it, regardless of where you've been, regardless of what you've been through. If you make up your mind and you're determined, then I want to be the example to show them all that, hey, look what I came back from. I came back from the bottom, prison. I had absolutely nothing, and I'm here today. And it was because of my faith.